Hey, party people! Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host, as always, Jeff Stormer. This week, I am joined by Sharang Biswas for a game of Hex Ed, one of the games featured in the UNI Role-Playing Games for Two anthology. Hex Ed is a game about wizard school. Specifically, it is a game about that most collegiate of traditions, that is, putting off your final term paper until the very last minute and then scrambling to get it all in, all while trying to still enjoy some of those late-night adventures that make college, and wizard college, just so exciting. Having played the game, I can tell you it is an absolute delight, and I really hope that you'll pick up UNI so that you can play it, as well as 13 other games from a variety of incredible designers, some of which we've played on the show, some of which we will play on the show. It's a good anthology and you should pick it up. You can find a link to that in the show notes. In addition to designing Hex Ed, Sharang is also one of the contributing designers to the D&D Adventure Mixtape, a 5th edition adventure compilation with accompanying soundtrack. He is also the designer of Feast, which won an Indiecade Award, as well as many other games that are all wonderful and interesting and cool. You can find links to all of that in the show notes as well. Two quick things before we dive in. First, a special thank you to friend of the show, Devin Preston, for supporting the show on Patreon. Devin, you're a good dude. I really appreciate it. And a quick reminder that this Sunday, January 27th, at Thursday Dice in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Party of One will be doing a live show as part of the Everything is Awesome Headstrong Comedy Festival. We're raising money for Headstrong, which is a cancer charity. You can go to bit.ly/headstrongfest to donate. We're hoping to raise $500 before the day of the convention. If we hit that goal, friend of the show, Kevin Gallagher, will run a Christmas-themed game of Mission Accomplished. It's going to be great. And on Sunday at Thursday Dice will be an entire day of games-focused podcasting, including Refugees of Esmeralda, Party of One, Pot of Love, Heart Points, Full Belly Laughs, and A Quest for Magic and Steel. It's going to be a great day, and I hope you're able to make it out. And with all that said, let's throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week, I am sitting down with Sharang Biswas. Sharang, thanks so much for coming on Party of One.
Oh, I'm really excited. Thank you for having me.
I'm very, very excited. So, real quick at the top of the show, before we dive into the game, why don't you take a moment and let the listeners at home know about the game that we're playing, where they can find it, as well as any projects that you're working on that you might want them to know about.
Sure. So the game is called Hex Ed. It is a two-player role-playing game, because I'm on your podcast.
Of course.
It is, the idea came in early last year, I think, when a group of game designer friends decided to make this anthology of games called You and I Role-Playing Games for Two. They decided, the beauty of the current state of the game design world is indie designers can make things and just put it out there on sites like DriveThruRPG or itch.io and things like that. So a couple of designers came together. They each individually or in pairs and things made these smaller two-player role-playing games, because we recognize that there is a dearth of two-player role-playing games, and I'm sure you're aware of with your podcast. And so this one was inspired by my interest in the Harry Potter books, because I like them a lot, and in the LARP New World Magischola, which is a LARP where you play wizard school. And so those ideas coalesced, and one thing I was thinking about was the thing that a lot of these don't cover as much is the part of student life which is about balancing your actual life and your academics. And so that was sort of the seed of the idea for this game. It's a game where you play a freshman at a college of magic, and it is 3 days until your midterm is due, and obviously you have not worked on your midterm at all.
Of course.
So rather than try and cram and study for 3 days and that's all you do, you're hoping that all the obligatory midnight adventures that you go on, which will of course happen, you're at magic school, you hope that those midnight adventures will teach you enough stuff to stuff into your midterm paper. And at the end of the game, the GM, or the college in this game, actually grades you based on how well you did, and your grade determines the epilogue.
That's so good. That is, I am so unbelievably delighted. This is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the wizard school genre. I have made more than one project in that realm. And so you asked about some other things I'm doing.
Yeah.
probably many of your listeners, not all your listeners are in New York, but this week, in fact, I have an interactive, like a live game at a gallery show happening. It is about futuristic Indian hackers, and you as the players hack by dancing. So we brought in like 2 choreographers to work with us to like help choreograph what this looks like, because we're interested in how physicality is in games, and also playing with this idea of how the digital world is, supposedly alienating, but close dancing with someone is a very, very intimate thing. So juxtaposing those two can achieve something weird and wonderful.
That's so cool.
I hope so. It's a very experimental piece. And then I also was just released. A lot of people know me because of my independent game work, like my Game Feast won an Indiecade Award and things like that. But I also like, Dungeons and Dragons. That's great too. And so 4 designers, me one of them, made a anthology of D&D 5e games called The Adventure Mixtape. And they're all low to slightly mid-low level adventures. They're designed, you can throw it into your Waterdeep campaign if you like, because they're all urban adventures. But the cool thing is they're all very different. They're 4 designers with different visions, and we commissioned original music to go with each piece.
Freaking rules.
Which you can get if you get the game. It's also on drive-thru. It's called Adventure Mixtape. And it's full of art. Most of us commissioned original art. Some of us made original art. And I'm pretty proud of it. My adventure is called The Infernal Collection. It is the only game I've ever made that actually includes a quote from The Devil Wears Prada. Because
very good.
Yeah, because it's set in a fashion show, and the players, in addition to solving mysteries and dealing with monsters, they have to contend with the drama between the models, including multiple love triangles, and you will be called on to design clothing for the fashion show, and that is part of the game mechanics. The better clothing you design, the better the ending will be for you. So
that's amazing. Oh my god. You've just said like 17 different things that made my heart grow a size, and I know that we have to play the game because that's what the podcast is about. But we're gonna talk about these things later off mic because I'm very excited about them.
Oh, just one more thing, because this is important to me. In the Infernal Collection, every single character is canonically queer. So
perfect. Yeah,
I think that's
18 things that have made my heart grow a size. But for now, we're here to play Hex Ed.
Awesome.
So let's dive into the game.
Before we dive in, I just want to give thanks to the 2 people who helped me make the game. I forgot to do that. MJ Barros made the art for the game, which I think is gorgeous. And Shweta Mohapatra helped make the character sheet because she's a wonderful graphic designer. And I would be unhappy if I did not mention that and thank them for helping me make the game.
Fantastic. I appreciate you calling them out. All right, so let's dive into the game. The first thing that we need to do is lay out our magical school student.
Yes. I know you're looking at the character sheet, so if you have the game, the character sheet is part of the book. So you can pick a name. There are 3 recommendations: Alistair Crumbly, Zahra Sarfarazuddin, or Marie-Dominique de la Tour. And if none of those appeal to you, you can make your own name.
I think I'm gonna take Alistair because I've always liked Alistair as sort of the sort of definitive witchy name. So I think I'm gonna go Alistair, and I think I'm gonna go Broombottom.
Oh, I like that. Alistair Broombottom.
Alistair Broombottom.
Okay, wonderful. So then you would set your statistics. There are 3 statistics: stability, substance, and progress. You always start with the same statistic. So your stability starts at 3, and stability is basically how stable you are as a student, how how well you can focus, how much sleep you're getting, how healthy you're eating, all those things that make you able to function as a person. And in the game, you will spend stability points to add to your adventure roll. So we can talk about that. And this is heavily inspired by Monte Cook Games' materials, where you actually spend your statistics to do things. That's what that's what inspired me to have this spendable resource, because I really wanted to reflect in this game this idea that as a student, you have to make sacrifices of your time and energy, so you actually spend your time and energy doing things.
Okay, so I've got 3 stability, 1 substance, and 0 progress.
Yes, so your substance determines how much material you have as research that you can use to write your midterm. And then your progress, which you have made none of because you have been procrastinating all term, is how much of the paper or assignment you've actually written. So that starts at 0. Then you would pick a style at how you look. So the 3 recommended styles or suggested styles are formal, which is a robes and a hat, a uniform, which is a button-down shirt and a tie, or casual, which is jeans and a hoodie.
I think what I'm going to say for my style, I'm going to draw from my own freshman college experience. Which is going to be a suit and tie. Because I was that kid in college, and I have to own that. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. It was a suit and tie that is too large because it was a thrift store purchase, and I did not know how how to shop for fitted clothing.
Nice.
So it is a too large suit and tie.
I love that. So I've studied some costume design, and they always talk about your clothing showing your character. So this to me suggests that your character, Alistair Broombottom, wants to be perceived as formal and possibly wealthy, but isn't necessarily in those circles yet.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think that I want to be perceived as an authority, I think, more than anything. I want to be like somebody that people look up to, but I'm still trying to figure out how I can do that, which is why I think the suit and tie is just not quite too large shoulders, so it's sort of that you're sort of swimming in it. The sleeves are a little long, so you don't see my hands all the time.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to try and remember that and incorporate that. So now you take 3 classes every term. You pick 2 of them and you make your third one, and the third one is the one in which you have this midterm. So we have 5 classes that you can start with. Each gives you a different bonus. So we have Introduction to Neuroalchemy, where you start with more stability. We have Griffins, Hippogriffs, and Pegasi, the evolution of mammalo-avian hybrids, which will help your roles connected to creatures. We have a special seminar in Sumerian and Assyrian curses, which will help your roles connected to curses and traps. We have Divination, which helps you look into the future and reduce difficulties of actions. And we have Mangu, Heka, Indrajala, and other non-Western magical traditions, because this is a Western school of magic, which helps you ignore the effects of magical mishaps because you have your multicultural knowledge. So pick 2 of those classes.
I'm gonna take the first one that jumps out is Mangu, Heka, Indrajala, and other non-Western magical traditions. Okay. Because I think, which tells me immediately that I think Alistair. Because I said that he wants to be an authority figure. Like he wants to be perceived as somebody that is important and knowledgeable. Okay. I think he's trying to learn to be the sort of jack of all trades. I think it's specifically he wants to be an authority at parties. Okay. I think he wants to learn as much as he can about as many topics as possible. Okay. So he's going specifically for as wide a range of things that he can rattle off at a grown-up party as possible.
I love it. Okay, I love that. Pick your second class.
Then with that in mind, we are also going to go with, do I want Griffins, Hippogriffs, or Pegasi, or the special seminar in Sumerian and I think I'm going to go the special seminar. Okay. I think because it's I think that I was immediately seduced by the fact that it's not going to be on the syllabus next term.
Right.
and I dove on it.
Yeah, there's a visiting lecturer teaching that. Mm-hmm. I love that. So that's cool. So that means for Mangu Heka, once per semester, i.e. once per game, you can ignore a magical mishap, which is when you fail a roll which has magic in it. And for the special seminar, any adventure roll to do with dark magic, curse, or traps, you automatically gain 1 extra die. And then you may name what the third course is, what your elective course is.
What do I think my elective course is? I'm just writing these down real quick. And as I do, I will think about the name of my elective course.
So one of the things I really enjoy is semi-pre-gen character creation, where some things you just pick from a small set of options, and some things you make completely. And even when I run one-shots of like D&D and things at cons, I half build a pre-gen for people. So with that in mind, I made this character creation process.
I think my third class is going off of the theme of just trying to learn as much trivia as possible, because I am a freshman and I haven't fully decided what my specialty is. I think it is, let's see, what's from Salem to Greendale and beyond, the law and order of witch hunts and magical trial practices.
That is amazing. From Salem to I'm going to write this whole thing down. To Greendale and beyond, the law and order of magical practices. Love it. I really like this because different players I've played with always have different ideas. So you have this really epic academic sounding course. One of my players I was testing with says, "Oh, I want the third course to be the care of magical dogs," and I'm
That's
like,
good.
Awesome.
Love it.
I love that. Awesome. Now, because we know that in wizard school, your best friend often does all the work for you and you get all the credit, you get to pick a best friend. The recommended options are either the cleverest student in your grade, or a loyal, stupid, but massive minion, or a cat.
I think it is the cleverest student in my grade.
Okay.
I think it is specifically it is a ghost. Pronouns will say she, her, will say her name is Luxem Buffo.
Luxem Buffo, okay.
And she specifically runs our tabletop role-playing game club because she's got a lot of experience.
I would say that your tabletop role-playing game that you're currently playing is all about being a mundane and how you can survive in a world without magic.
Yep. And she has a lot of experience. She's learned a lot of weird games, being that she is a ghost who has been around for at least 100 years.
Perfect.
And so she just picked up all sorts of weird... She's like, well, this game was huge in France in the 1780s, and I think we've adapted it into a really fun little story game. And so she just knows a lot of little pieces of history that can come in handy.
I love that. I also would like to say that she's been here very long, but only recently has she been formally allowed to register as a student, as a ghost, because ghosts weren't allowed to register before. So that's why she's in your grade. I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then there's a section in the character sheet about your transcript, which we fill out at the end of the game. And yes, that is character creation. Any questions or anything you'd like to add before we go on to the next stage?
The only thing I would like to add so far is that Alistair Broombottom is a precious angel that I will love for the rest of my life.
That is wonderful. I will make note of this. Precious angel to love forever.
Yes.
Okay, so now the game works in. The game is 3 nights long, and so you have the daytime, which is quickly done with like small scenes, and then the nighttime, which is the larger scene. So you have a midterm in From Salem to Greendale and Beyond, the Law and Order of Magical Practices coming up, and you need to get cracking, or you will fail, and that will not be good for you. So at the end of the game, there is a little summary of the whole game procedure. So I'm going to be using that. There are also some suggested prompts in the game about like scenarios, situations, and to showcase the game. I'm going to be using some of those prompts today as we play. So the first thing you do is, it is the first day. You have to, after you go to class, you come back from class, and you have to decide how you spend the few hours you have of free time before dinner and before beginning the evening. So would you like to sleep, which will give you extra stability, which is used in adventure roles? Would you like to study, which will give you 1 substance, which is used in writing your paper? Or would you like to socialize, which is random, and you could either lose stability or gain even more stability?
I think I have to socialize. I think that Alistair is so like trying to get used to sort of the social atmosphere of college that I am just diving hard into like, hey, what's everybody doing? Are we going out for coffee? Are we chatting? Did you all see the new Netflix show? What's going on? What are we doing, gang?
Awesome. So can you give me a brief description of what you are doing with your gang?
I think that what we are doing is I think Luxem is guiding us through like a low-level seance.
Oh.
Easy kind of Child's League stuff, not necessarily anything that is sort of like going to be magically illuminating.
Right.
But it's a lot of like conjuring old entertainment stars and being like, let's get a joke from Johnny Carson today. And then we don't know if it's actually Johnny Carson, because ghosts can be tricksters, but we're all just like, hey, this is fun. This is a great time had by all.
I love that. Okay, now roll me 1d6.
All right. That's a 4.
Out of 4, that's a mid-success. So the seance goes pretty well. At one point, you break out a Ouija board, and it spells out what some of you call a pun. Some of you are like, no, that's random. But enough people think it's a pun that the people think the evening is a success, so you gain 1 stability.
Somebody groans when they spell out the Ouija board. Somebody groans, and that's what we decide is the deciding factor. We say, "Yep, that's a pun."
Yep, as long as there's a groan, you know you have a pun. I love it. Great. So now, you go to dinner. You finish up your like chores, like laundry and things. And now it's nearly midnight, and you're gonna have to go on an obligatory midnight adventure. So I'm gonna look at my table, and I'm gonna say, since you told me your character, that Alistair really wants to be known by people and known as smart and important and things like that, I'm gonna say, so you have a rival at the school. Would you name your rival for me?
Oh, my rival is named Handsome Jack Quickster.
Handsome Jack Quickster. Love it. So his name is Jack, but he's known as Handsome Jack Quickster because he is both handsome and a quickster.
Mm-hmm.
And he's clearly better than you. Everyone's like, he's more handsome than you. He's quicker than you, and you want to not to happen. So you have heard that Handsome Jack Quickster is Handsome Jack from Borderlands, the video game?
I think I specifically got it from, I think Handsome Pete is a Simpsons. Handsome Pete is a Simpsons character.
Okay.
There may be a Borderlands character named Handsome Jack, but I know that Handsome Pete is a dancing accordion player from The Simpsons.
Okay, because I played Tales from the Borderlands, and it's excellent, so I just thought of that. Okay, so you know that they're going to a secret meeting at midnight. Now, normally, most club meetings end before midnight, except some of the astronomy meetings, but those are only for the higher level students, because astronomy and astrology are higher level magics. So you want to try and infiltrate and see what this meeting is and what they're up to, what Handsome Jack is up to. And I'm going to say, so I'm going to look at my second table, and you have heard, I'm going to say that your best friend, Luxem, because she's a ghost, she was passing through some rooms at one point when she overheard that this meeting is happening at a specific clearing in the forest, and this is a specific clearing where it's super dark, but the trees that ring this forest have nests of these glow-in-the-dark, these luminous birds. So when they roost there at night, they shed light into this clearing.
Oh, I love it. That's so good.
Luxem's
a little gossip is what I like about my best friend Luxem.
Oh, yeah, she's a ghost. Of course she's a gossip. She can go through things and, like, turn invisible and stuff. That's all she does. Also, she doesn't really need to go to class. She's been to them dozens of times over her death span.
And so she literally is the friend that will just show up at your dorm room and be like, hey, by the way, I heard a hot scoop. You didn't hear it from me. And you're like, I love it. Okay, great.
I love it. Okay, so it is right before midnight. What would you like? Would you like to make any preparations, or do you want to just head out into the woods and see what's up?
I think the thing that I am preparing is I spend a lot of time preparing like cool quips and little tiny like parlor room facts because I assume that is that if we're going into this gathering, in addition to whatever ritual is being performed, because if it's in a clearing, it's probably not just like a club meeting, it's probably some sort of ritual. But whatever ritual is being performed, I also just need to have like, there's going to be some mingling time, and this is going to be an opportunity to sort of meet and greet, and I need to be ready for the meet and greet section.
Love it. So, just as a note, every Midnight Adventure, there's a table of complications, so there's always a complication that was going to be introduced. So, this is perfect. So, you prepared all these tricks. Are you, like, heading to the clearing as though you're, I'm supposed to be there, I'm going there? Are you trying to sneak in? How are you going to the area?
I think that I am trying to scope out like other people that are going, because I can't go with Handsome Jack. They will rat me out.
Of course.
But like I could definitely like sneak in with, if I sneak in with like a large enough group of other club members, I'm hoping to kind of hide in plain sight and just be like somebody in the middle of a crowd.
Perfect. So I have a table of NPCs. I'm gonna, which you can mix and match. I'm gonna say you spot another student heading over. The student's name is Leaf Richardson, and it is rumored that Leaf is actually a goat who accidentally transformed into a human and now attends the college. Like, people say this about her. About them, I'm going to say. They use they pronouns. And they're always walking around with a cane, a walking stick, shaped like a giraffe.
Okay.
So you actually hear the clack, clack, clack of their giraffe cane. And you're like, oh, that must be Leaf. Why are they up at this time? Let's follow them. Great. So in the woods, this is the magical forest that the school obviously is built next to. Tell me, on the way there, so this is each location has a question prompt. So this is the question prompt for you. On the way there, tell me about a rare magical plant that you spot that only grows in this part of the world, in this forest.
The plant that I spot is we will call it It is the zombie root.
Ooh.
It is this tiny little... It's called zombie root, but it's sort of more of like... It's a little bit of a potato, or like a shrub, but it's called it because it grows in a specific way along the ground that it looks like a root. And if kind of like boiled and subsequently mashed in just a certain way, it has the magical ability to, only for a few minutes, sort of like if you kind of like if you stuff a vampire's mouth with holy wafers, if you take sort of a little ball of this kind of mashed potato mixture and you put it into the mouth of a recently deceased being, they will hop to life for a few minutes. But the first minute, of course, is spent sort of eating this and going like, oh, that's delicious. That is just got a real savory flavor.
I
And so you
love
have to
that.
kind of have a little patience when dealing with zombie root zombies because they're going to spend some time savoring the dish.
I love that. Would you like to take some zombie root?
I figure I may as well. You never know when it'll come in handy.
Exactly. Awesome. So you like quickly do a little digging and you grab a handful and put it in your pocket. And as you're grabbing the zombie root, you take time to pull it out. You realize that you have lost sight of Leaf.
Oh,
and
no.
You are now in the middle of the forest and you are kind of lost because, yeah, you've been here in the daytime, but it's now midnight. It is very dark. You've lost sight of Leaf. Your friend Luxem is kind of hovering around looking and she like gives you a shrug like, oh no. How would you like to find your way either out or towards the meeting or to find Luxem? Not Luxem, Leaf.
I think that what I'm looking for, I think how I'm looking to find Leaf and subsequently the clearing is the one concrete thing I know about the clearing, since I've lost track of the club members, the one concrete thing I know about the clearing is I am looking for these glowing birds.
Okay.
So I think what I'm doing is kind of like knocking or rustling trees as quietly as I can to try and like scare loose a glowing bird, and if I can scare loose that glowing bird, it'll flock to its brethren, and I can sort of just like follow it.
Perfect. So because this is an interesting role with possible consequences, this becomes an adventure roll. So
Perfect.
The way an adventure roll works is you roll a number of dice. So this one is inspired by Lady Blackbird. Which is a great free role-playing game by John Harper, the creator of Blades in the Dark, and I would encourage all your listeners to check it out. But you have to roll a number of six-sided dice, and you need successes equal to the difficulty of the task. So if the difficulty is 2, which is a standard challenge, you need 2 dice to read a 4, 5, or 6 to succeed. Okay? So every adventure roll, you start with 1 die. Okay, so you have 1 die. Clearly, you cannot get 2 successes with 1 die. So there are a number of ways to increase your dice pool. You can easily spend 1 point of stability and get another die. You can spend more than 1 as well, if you like. You can try and use magic and you get another die, but if you use magic and you fail the roll, that will result in a magical mishap. And if what you do makes me laugh uproariously or surprises me in ways I cannot think of, I may award you a bonus die. So I would say for the first roll, let's just start with 1 die.
All right.
Would you like to use magic or use substance or both? Or use stability or both?
I'm going to use 1 point of stability.
Okay.
Dropping me down to 3 stability.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to, because I'm going to cash in my time spent socializing.
Yep.
I think I maybe picked up a few factoids about glowing birds.
Yep, of course.
And I think I am going to use a little bit of magic.
Perfect. Now, magic can come in many forms. You can cast a spell, you can have a trinket on you, you can have a potion, you can interact with a magical creature. You decide. Do note that if you use a curse in some way, you will get a bonus die because of the course you're taking.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I think I'm definitely going to use... I feel bad about it. And I think I pause as I look around. I'm kind of like knocking trees, and I think to myself, oh, wait. There is the curse of the henpecked husband.
Oh.
The henpecked husband. The irony of the curse name is it actually just literally causes flocks of birds to descend upon you and sort of harmlessly but painfully peck at you for a little bit.
Oh. I'm gonna say you learned this curse when someone did it to you your first week.
Yep. This is definitely a freshman hazing curse. Stop it! No! And yeah, I think I just scoured over the course textbooks in the curse class to find that specific curse, and was like, I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna use it on somebody. I know
the curse, the henpecked husband. So yeah, because you scoured your textbooks in your special seminar, and remember it's a visiting lecturer, so he doesn't care as much about how illegal his class is because he's going to be gone in a term.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know this. So that gives you one bonus die for using magic at all, and then one bonus die because you're taking that course.
So that's going to bring me to 4 dice.
So you need 2 successes to do this well, and if you fail, you will suffer magical mishap.
Yep.
So go ahead.
That is 1 success, 2 successes, 3 successes.
Wow, okay, so you're super successful. Can you describe how you perform the curse?
Yes. I think what I do is I take out, or I cover, I see one of the nests, right?
Right.
And, every good curse needs, like, a focus point. You need to be cursing a person or a thing.
Right.
And the detail that I have, I don't have a lot of detail on Leaf. I didn't really get a good look at them.
Right.
But what I did get a good look at was that giraffe cane.
Right.
So what I can do is kind of describe the cane and sort of give it, like, it's sort of a lot of hand gestures. You kind of have to make the bird, and you kind of have to go like, and like slowly the glow-in-the-dark birds start fluttering and start rustling and start feeling an unrest, and they just go. And I'm like, Luxem, that worked. I'm very this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be, and Luxem is like, yeah, this is gonna be an interesting night because now there's birds everywhere.
So Luxem is very pleased because she's been alive for like a century, and none of her other best friends have ever been this henpecked. So she's really excited. So yeah, so these really, they're like peacock-sized birds, but they can fly, and they like glow all these different colors. So they like
so
leap.
Much larger than I was thinking, and that makes me so happy because that means there's just giant birds descending on this cane.
Yeah, they're descending, and they're like because you described the shape of this giraffe walking stick so well with your gestures. Also, looking at that, Luxem nods at you and makes a mental note that you're going to be her pick for the next game of charades that you guys play together.
Yes!
The birds like zip through the forest, and you manage to like keep up with them. And in the distance, so like where you're heading, you see the clearing. You see the whole clearing is aglow with all these multicolored birds, and these birds are heading there. You see a bunch of figures in the clearing, and you see that like slowly walking over is Leaf, and these birds immediately like crowd around them and start squawking and pecking, and a couple of them poop on Leaf.
Yep. Which I feel bad about because they didn't do anything.
They didn't do much, and hey, if they were actually a goat, they don't really know what's happening. Yeah. But the problem now is that this is making a lot of noise, and Leaf is actually bleating and baaing in not in agony, but like upset and anxious and scared, and that might attract the attention of the figures in the clearing who are the ones you're trying to meet. Would you like to do something about this, or would you like to let it happen?
I think what I'm going to do about it is try to, as quickly as possible, sneak around Leaf so that like I can like get on the other side of them.
Okay.
So that like when the time comes, I can basically. My hope is that this does attract the attention of the other club members.
Okay.
Because I'm sticking to my plan of like hanging around the crowd, so that when the crowd comes to investigate Leaf, I can just sort of be among them and be like, what's this? This is real weird. What a wacky night is happening. Let's get back to our club.
I love it. So this seems like another challenge. Oh, and remember, just a reminder, at any point, you can use your best friend once in the semester to re-roll any number of dice that you have rolled.
Oh, I love it.
Okay?
All right.
Perfect. So I think this is another challenge of 2 adventure roll. So you start with 1 die. Do you want to spend anything?
I am definitely going to, let's see. I am going to not spend, I have to get 2 successes.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to use magic, but not a curse.
Okay.
Because there is sort of this old trick spell that, like, I picked up on that like I found in a spell book that I thought was really important, and it is called Face Without a Body.
Okay.
And basically it's a tiny little, it's a cantrip of a spell that basically makes it so that like somebody that sees you says, "Oh, I know your face from somewhere." I can't pinpoint from where, but it just it puts that thought in their mind of like, "Oh, I know you from somewhere." Because if I'm in the crowd, all I have to do is just kind of be like, "Yeah, you see me around.
Nice.
I'm in the crowd."
Yeah, this is a tiny cantrip that was used during the French Revolution, and so Luxem actually pointed you to that spell.
Yep.
Because you said she grew up in like medieval Paris or something, right? So during the French Revolution, she's lived centuries, she's been dead centuries. She heard of the spell, so perfect. It's a rare and interesting yet simple cantrip, right?
Yeah. A tiny little detail about Luxem is that she's definitely just like carrying her head in her hand.
I love it.
She crossed paths with a guillotine. But like in that kind of ghostly, like gleeful ghost kind of way, she like holds her head in her hand, but there's no blood or anything, and periodically she kind of just like tosses it to the other side and like tosses her head from hand to hand.
I love it. Very headless Luxem. Okay, so now you have 2 dice. You need both of them to succeed, so give me a roll.
All right. That is no success, but I'm going to ask Luxem to join me in this. I'm going to say, Luxem, here's the plan. If this doesn't work, I need you in the crowd as well, because Luxem is a little more popular than me, so it would make a little more sense if people saw her.
Everyone knows and likes Luxem. She's the college gossip, right? Everyone likes that. Okay, so you've used up your best friend power for the game.
Yep.
Love it. So you can re-roll both of them.
All right, I just did, and I got my 2 successes.
Perfect. So describe the spell.
I think the spell is quite literally, I take some dirt from the ground, I rub it between my fingers, and what you do is, like, you rub it as you whisper this tiny little, like, incantation, and what you do is is with the dirt in your fingers, you rub it until it's sort of a very fine powder, and you put the tiniest beauty mark right on your cheek.
Oh, nice.
And that beauty mark is people go, "Oh, yeah, I recognize that beauty mark. Yeah, I recognize you. Why do I know you?" And then you have that chance to be like, "Oh, I'm in the club. I haven't really done anything, but I'm around."
I love it. And since you asked Luxem for help, she gives you a little tiny like correction to the spell that means you do it exceptionally well. So yeah, you get into the crowd, and so Handsome Jack seems to be like commanding of attention. He turns around and he's like, "What's all that noise?" And he notices, Leaf is there, and there are all these birds, and Handsome Jack's like, "Oh no, it's that sheep person. Ugh, we don't want them here." And he takes out his wand. Describe your rival's wand for me.
Oh, his wand is very good.
Oh.
It is this old, kind of like ornately carved, like cherry wood wand. It is kept in immaculate condition. It just looks like it has a sense of history to it.
Okay.
But it is also like pristine in quality. It has this very vintage flair to it that just looks so cool, and I hate it.
I love it. So he whispers a few arcane words. I'm gonna say Jack is Lebanese, so he uses a special type of Arabic magic that a lot of people don't know. So he whispers some like old Arabic words, and these bubbles erupt from the tip of his wand. They lazily float to where the birds are, then they pop, and this greenish miasma comes out of them. The birds squawk and fly away, and Leaf passes out.
Yeah, they're out like a light. It's
right.
Just real dramatic faint, right? Like, and then just down.
Exactly.
Down
and Jack's like, "We'll deal with them later." So Jack turns to the crowd. His eyes rake over all of you. He sees you, but because you did this spell so well, is not only is it that people who don't know you will be like, oh, I've seen you somewhere, but people who do know you will just be like, who are you? I know I've seen you somewhere.
Yeah. It renders you to all people, whether you know them or not, with the exception of ghosts, because they have magic. They have sight beyond sight, naturally.
Right.
But it renders you as that level of you're familiar, and I don't know how.
Right, and so he's like, okay, he looks past, he's like, oh, you must be some other student who I haven't met yet. I'm too important to know every student. So he looks at everyone, he's like, perfect, and he starts this speech. He's like, okay, so to be part of this club, remember, everyone here is like 17 years old, so they're like twerpy. No offense to any 17-year-olds listening to this podcast.
Nah, I get it. I was 17 once.
So he says, okay, everyone, did you bring the evidence of your magical mastery that I asked for? And everyone's like nodding sagely and like, yeah, we brought these. And he calls up students one by one, and each student shows off a really fancy, flashy spell. And you've noticed that these spells are all spells that you have not learned in your classes. And then it's gonna come to your turn. You have to do the same thing. Now, you don't have to do a spell. You can do something and pretend it's a spell. But what would you do in this situation?
I think what I would do is kind of step up and, like, adjust my suit sleeves a little bit, like roll them up, which you don't really do with suit sleeves, but they're a little bit too long, so I'm gonna have to. I step up and, like, crack my knuckles and say, okay, I am going to perform a little bit of a historical ritual, as this is sort of my specialty,
Right.
I kind of give this slightly long-winded sort of coffee room anecdote, right? This is parlor anecdote. As I am holding this zombie root in my hands, and I'm rubbing it in between my hands, and I'm kind of like warming it up with my hands, because the thing about zombie root is that, it can resuscitate the dead, but it can also, like, if you treat it just right, and you kind of like scrape off a little bit of that skin, and you basically like take a nice long whiff of it when it is at its warmest, you take a long whiff of the skin, it can produce the effects of being dead.
Okay,
it goes both ways. So I'm warming it in my hands, and I'm telling this story about, like, an escape artist who had to cheat the Grim Reaper, and, like, I'm telling this elaborate story, and I say, and just when Madame Death reached out her bony hand, the escape artist said, and now, my greatest trick. I'm gonna beat you to the punch, and I whiff the zombie root, enacting what is called the curse of death before death. And I fall over seeming like a dead body.
I love it.
And everybody's like, what just happened? What? And
did you fail?
No. Everybody is panicking because I just appear to have died.
I love that. That's really cool. So I'm going to start you off with...
a moment later, I spring to my feet and like, haha.
That's amazing. I'm going to start you off with 2 dice, one for standard and one because that was really cool. You are using magic, definitely. You're using the zombie root. That's 3 dice. Did you use stability on this?
I'm going to use 1 point of stability. I am also using the curse of death before death.
So it's another one. Perfect.
So that's going to be 5 dice. I've got to get 2 or 3.
I'm gonna say this isn't like impossible difficult. This is still standard difficulty. So go ahead.
4 successes.
Okay, so you flawlessly pull this off, and in fact, you even quickly exchanged a knowing look with Luxem. So when it happens, Luxem starts squealing appropriately with the right tone, and when you get back up, she's like, "Oh my! However did you do that?" And the two of you, her cheerleading and your actual flair for this for the zombie root manipulation, and people start applauding you and they start coming up to you and talking. In fact, some people have started ignoring Handsome Jack.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's real good.
So that is the end of this midnight adventure. What happens after the initiation is you realize that this is a meeting to determine who Handsome Jack is next going to date.
Okay.
So he was holding this sort of like secret club to be like, who is worthy of being dated by me?
That is incredible.
So now at the end of the midnight adventure, we determine do you think this adventure was a success? Did you achieve your goal that you had, Alistair?
I think I did. I think Alistair wanted to get in on this club, whatever it was, wanted to get in on the hot happening. And I think not only did he do it, I think that he doesn't have a date with Handsome Jack. But this sort of nameless stranger that with the flair for the dramatic has a date lined up. And I think that, which is going to be tricky because it means I'm going to have to reapply the face without a body and sort of keep being mysterious.
Nice.
Because I think Handsome Jack is like, you just have this energy that I feel like I know you, but I don't know you at all, and it's very intriguing.
He's also a little jealous that everyone's paying you attention and not him.
Yep.
So he's like, okay, if I attach myself to this person, attention will come back to me.
Yes.
Perfect. So because we both agree that it was a success, you get 2 points of substance.
All right.
You learned a lot this adventure. Now, using your 3-point substance is the next phase. Now is the studying phase of your first night, where you have to study and write. So we are in part 3. It's called Crunch Time. So now you make a writing roll. Writing roll starts with 0 dice. You have to spend substance to gain any dice, but as long as you get at least 1 success, you will gain 1 point of progress. Okay?
I'm gonna spend the 2 points of substance that I had.
Okay.
Or that I gained here, putting me back down to 1 substance.
Yep. So give me a roll.
No successes.
Okay, so you're so flush with your, like, cool evening and, like, all these people are chatting with you. They hold on to you a bit longer. In fact, Leaf even wakes up and they come to you and they're like, what happened and stuff. That by the time you get to your room, you open a book and you literally fall face flat onto it and fall fast asleep.
I look at it the next morning and it's just doodles. It's just like doodles and heart, like initials in hearts. Except my initials are question marks because I don't have a name yet. And I'm like,
and one of them says, because you know you're going to go on a date with Handsome Jack, and one of them says HJ question mark and then cross. Because you don't actually like him that much. Great. Okay, so that was your first day. Your second day, after class, would you like to sleep, study, or socialize?
I think...
Sleep, remember, gives you stability, study gives you substance, and socialize may give you stability.
I think I'm going to have to study. I think I didn't get the progress that I wanted in my... in my paper last night.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to hit the books today.
Love it. So you gain 1 point of substance. So you have 2, and because you did a lot of curses last night, you're hit by some inspiration about illegal curses in Salem, and so that informs some of the research you do, and you gain some substance.
All right.
Okay. It is now another midnight, so a time for another midnight adventure. I'm gonna say tonight. Tonight is a special anniversary of the founding of the university. Okay, and they say that the night the university is founded, the ghost of the first headmistress, Shweta Mayagiri, whose portrait is actually in the game. She is awesome and has a familiar that's a cobra. She was also a professor of cryptobotany.
It's a beautiful picture. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah, I loved my artist MJ Barros. She's really cool. It's said that her ghost emerges at this night, and whoever can find the ghost and ask the ghost for like a boon or a blessing or something, that they will ace all their exams the first semester. Is what
Sounds
is
good.
said.
Yeah, right, for sure.
You ask around a bit. Even Luxem has never met the ghost of the first headmaster. She has met the first headmaster. You know, Shweta was there when the school was when Luxem was a student. Was when Luxem died. But she has never met the ghost, so it's going to be a little bit challenging.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
So it's nearly midnight, and you know that at midnight the ghost's gonna appear, and they say the ghost only shows up for, they're conflicting stories. Some of them say 10 minutes, some of them say 30 minutes, some of them say no, she will show up for an instant and vanish. But you do know that if she shows up, it'll be for a short time.
Sure. I've only got 1 moment. I've only got 1 moment to make this happen.
Right. So you have 2 leads. I'm using my table of locations again. You have the office of the visiting professor, the cursed professor, and you can go to one of the storage rooms in the basement. Which of these locations would you like to go to?
I think I'm gonna head to the cursed professors. I have reason to be in there after hours, as I am also studying for this curse exam.
Right, perfect.
But I think more than that, I have another plan that I want to do before I do that.
Yeah,
and I think it is the most important aspect of this plan is to make sure that I find the ghost, but also that no one else finds the ghost.
Okay, so how are you doing this?
I have just the curse to make this happen.
Love it. Okay.
There's an old proverb.
Okay.
No one knows who has said it, but there's a curse but what people don't know is that it actually comes from this curse.
Okay.
It is the curse of interesting times.
Oh yeah, may you live in interesting
times. It is the curse of interesting times.
Love it.
What it does is, if you cast it, what it does is it's dangerous. It's a dangerous sort of chaos curse, in that stuff just happens.
I love it.
It is unpredictable. There's no saying what the end result is. It means that while the curse is sort of underway, and it's sort of you draw a circle, and while that circle is sort of like enacted, shit's just wild. People's lives are consumed in drama. People are waking up to find their significant others like cheating, and people are revealing secrets to each other, and it just makes things interesting while this curse is alive.
I love it. Would you like to do it in a specific part of the school? Because it's probably too big to do in the entire school.
I will actually do it, I think, in the storage rooms. I think that's a good place to sort of hide it.
Perfect. So describe how the spell looks, and then cast it for me with your dice for an adventure roll.
It is a salt circle sort of summoning rune.
I love it.
It requires a lot of like intricate like ancient Chinese characters.
I love it.
And it's all sort of performed with sort of rock salt specifically. Like it's not that sort of fine table salt. It has to be that big coarse.
It.
The kind of thing that can melt snow, because it sort of melts away the sort of natural order of things.
I love it. And in fact, as the curse is proceeding, like the time limit of the curse is determined. So as the curse proceeds, parts of the symbols start melting away, and the curse ends when all of the salt has melted away.
That's so good. Yes, that's fantastic. I love it.
I love that. Okay, so you, because it's very intricate, Luxem kind of helps. I mean, she can't really hold things, but she helps you with some of the small details. She can gently move certain grains of salt with concentration, so she does that a bit. Perfect. So you draw the runes in salt. Make me an adventure roll. You start with 2 dice. 3 dice. That's 1 for using magic, 1 for using a curse on your class, and 1 to begin with. Also, this is a good excuse for you to be in that professor's office. You could just be like, oh, this curse just happened. I wanted some help figuring it out.
Yep, that's solid. I
And
like that
would
a
you
lot.
like to use some stability? You have 2 stability left. Note, if your stability goes down to 0, you become so stressed that you may lose some substance.
I think I'm going to just roll with the 3. I think I can get 2 successes off of this 3.
But okay, I'm gonna say, because this is a little harder, it's a powerful
Yep.
spell. This is gonna require 3 successes to pull off properly.
In that case, yeah, I'm gonna spend this 1 point of I'm gonna spend this 1 point of stability.
Okay, you have 1 stability left, and you have 4 dice. So go. And if you fail, a magical mishap can happen unless you use your Mangu Heka Indrajala to undo that. So go ahead, roll your 4 dice.
I got 2 successes on my 4 dice, so I think rather than have a magical mishap, I am going to use my Mangu Heka and Indrala trait or my knowledge from class.
Yeah. So that's perfect. So normally if this curse goes wrong really badly, horrible things can happen, but it is an ancient Chinese curse, and you've been taking this class on foreign kinds of magic, so you as freshmen rarely do actually combine the knowledge of multiple classes in a fruitful way. And you managed to stop a magical mishap. However, the spell because it was a failure, the spell didn't go. So the spell did fail, so something does happen. It's just not a huge magical mishap. In that while you are drawing the runes, you take too long trying to stop the magical mishap from happening, that someone enters the room you're in. This is, let's see, okay, Ebenezer Whittlebottle is a junior who is the president of the Pixie Preservation Club.
Sure.
And they always wear flowing robes, and they're an alchemy specialist, and they always stink of garlic and wet dog.
Yep.
So as you're making...
I smell them I smell them well before I see them.
Oh, exactly. So you're like, oh, no. And Ebenezer walks in and sees you, and he is like, oh, Alistair, are you looking for the ghost as well? Oh my god, let me join you. Maybe we can find the ghost together. And plops himself next to you.
Oh, okay. Sure. This was, I was hoping to buy us some time, but, and I am going to, I've picked up a lot of curses as people have sort of done them to me.
Right.
But this is another curse that was done to me early on as I was rattling on about the latest issue of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Right.
I was rattling on about it to someone, and they hit me with it is the curse of the Devil's Checklist.
Okay.
What it is, there's an old story, all of these stories about the devil with his book of souls, right? With the coming to Salem and collecting names. The thing is, it's always described as a ledger.
Okay.
It is always described as this big professional book. And a lot of people who have studied this particular aspect of these folklore stories realized is ledgers have a lot of other aspects. They have a lot of other pieces. So the Devil's Checklist is literally a daily to-do list. The curse of the Devil's Checklist makes you remember or incepts some tiny little thing that you have to do right now. Right at this very moment. And so if you do the curse just right, it's oh no, my laundry's in the dryer at this very moment.
I love it.
And you have to run back to your door.
Okay, so I like that a lot. You have 1 magic die, 1 regular die, and I'm going to give you 1 bonus die because that's kind of fun.
And I'm going to take my curse die as well, putting me up to 5 dice. And I'm going to roll no stability. I think I've got this.
Yeah. This is standard difficulty 2, so.
That is 4 successes.
Oh, so... you get Luxem to distract him by just asking him a question.
I have a suggestion if that's all right.
Yeah.
What did we say? What did we say their first name was?
Their first name is Ebenezer.
Ebenezer. The thing about Ebenezer that makes this curse particularly effective is they actually, because they're the treasurer of the Pixie Preservation Society, their to-do list is already super long. So like it basically they like basically makes them go like, oh no, I have 14 different things I gotta do.
Right? So he's like, oh no, I have to do all the paperwork, and oh no, I have to clip the pixie's nose hairs today. It's my turn. And he screams and runs out of the room. Perfect. So now you don't have time to finish the the interesting times curse. So you probably have to run to the office of the professor.
Yes. I'm just gonna have to run straight there, and I don't even think I'm gonna be able to really count on magic or curses or anything. I think it's just going to be running in, it's going to have to be just my natural charm of like, oh, I'm supposed to be here because I'm picking up some papers. I was supposed to have some pre-exam stuff that I needed to pick up and study. I'm very stressed. I'm new here. I'm a freshman.
Love it. So it is midnight, remember. So you run and you find that the door is strangely open. As though, like, he doesn't care about locking his door. As though, he's a professor of curses. Does he need locks? But inside the office, you see his two pet toads. They're sitting on pedestals and they're swearing at each other. They always quarrel viciously. They just say, like, your mother was a goat. Well, you didn't have a mother. You were born from the poop of a glowbird. And they're just like, screaming at each other and swearing at each other. You also notice, because the ghost hasn't appeared yet, that on the table is a particular controversial text that shouldn't actually be there. And you can see that from the threshold of the office, which you have not entered yet, because the door is suspiciously wide open. So, what would you like to do? First, tell me, what is this controversial text that is there?
This controversial text is, it is a paper that was basically, like, banned from the school for a lot of, like, it was banned from the school, and the controversial text in specific is, it's gonna be, Vex Maleficent.
Okay.
Vex Maleficent is actually, the paper is specifically on, it is on the realities of ESP and psychic phenomena, which is bunk, which is nonsense. Psychic powers are ridiculous. They are the work of science fiction, and we will not have them at an institution of higher learning.
And so for a visiting scholar to have that is very controversial. They're like, wait, are you really paying attention to that? Okay, so you have not entered the room yet. You see this text. You see the quarreling toads. It's a pretty generic office because it changes owner every semester with different professors. So there aren't a lot of like accoutrements around except for the toads and some books. So what would you like to do?
I think what I'm going to do is I am going to... Well, everything has worked out very nicely because I think I'm going to be able to bust out another curse. I think I've got another curse here to bust out.
Okay.
And it is actually a curse that I'm going to put on myself.
Oh.
It is a controlled curse that I'm going to put on myself. It is the curse of common ground.
Okay.
It is a ritual. What it is generally designed to bring somebody onto your side in an argument.
Okay.
What it does is you cast the curse on a target, right? You cast it on a target while, like, two people, or while you are arguing, or while you are arguing with another person.
Okay.
You cast it on a third party. What the curse does is it curses that person to have some innate quality to their being.
Okay.
That is just infuriating and repulsive to both you and your other person.
Okay.
So that the two of you are able to find common ground and just going, oh, I hate that. Isn't that so annoying? Yeah, and I also saw them do this. But I'm going to curse it on myself.
Okay, which means the toads will find common ground against you.
The toads will find common ground with me, get so mad at me that they will come at me to scream at me, come at me to argue with me, crossing the door, the threshold of the door, activating
Nice.
whatever curse trap is inevitably put here, so that I can come through it perfectly innocently.
I love that. Okay, that you're casting on yourself, so it's easier. So it's just a difficulty 2. Because I would say that's a complex, cool curse, but you're doing it on yourself, so like whatever. Okay, so you start with 3 dice because you're using magic and a curse. Go ahead, and if you want to use stability, you have 1 point left. So
I'm going to hold on to that 1 point of
dangerous.
stability. I'm going to definitely hold on to that 1 point of stability as I make this roll.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, that's 1 success. This is a magical mishap, and this seems like real bad.
Okay, so you curse yourself, and instantly every object in that room hates you.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the toads jump and like leap at you. The table upends itself and flies at you. The books all fly out of the shelves and rush towards you. And everything that's rushing out the door, the toads are the first affected. So as they pass through the door, they turn to stone.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else just past the door and starts chasing you down the hallway. You and Luxem, like the books are literally ripping themselves apart, and their pages are rolling into balls and being pelted at you. The bookshelf is just trying to like clobber you. And we're gonna end the night, the scene with that.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, as you run, you do get a brief glimpse of some pale figure in the room that you were sure wasn't there to begin with, but you can't really focus on that as vengeful furniture starts chasing you across the school.
And if I may add a detail,
Yeah.
I have a very nice little touch. I think what I see is this sort of pale figure emerge, and like they hold up a finger and fires darts, and they just slowly lower it towards this controversial psychic text, which is nonsense.
I love it. Yeah, the first headmistress was a known critic of extrasensory perception and sorts, because she says that's what got the witch burnings to happen. Like people just believed they had these weird powers which don't exist. I love it. Okay, so that's the second night. Do you think that was a full success?
No, I think that was not at all a success.
Yeah.
I think I gained no substance from that.
Okay, I was gonna say that might be a partial success because
I'll take a partial.
Yeah, because you did see the ghost. And just as a game designer, the thing I use to judge that is also how many successful rolls you made.
Okay.
And you made like 1 successful roll, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's a partial success. So you only gain 1 point of substance.
And is there a mechanical thing that happens if I have 0 substance?
No. If you have 0 substance, that just means you don't have stuff to work on.
All
the
right,
only
well,
thing that
then
really
I'm
affects you is if you get so stressed, you have 0 stability.
Then I'm throwing all of my substance into this because I gotta get
Okay.
something. I'm real close to the end of the semester.
Yeah, so you managed to get rid of the furniture by throwing them onto because other students are looking for the ghosts, you put them in your way. As human meat shields, but you manage to get back to your room, and you're like, oh my god, I have to do some work. Maybe I shouldn't chase a ghost to ace my exam. Maybe I should just do work. And yeah, so throw me your 3 dice.
All right. That is 3 successes.
Okay, you gain 1 point of progress.
1 point of progress.
Okay, nice. It's gonna be your third. So you managed to. You're like, okay, ancient things, ancient crimes, and then you think about that controversial paper you saw, and you're like, wait a minute, and that sparks some research about banned texts and banned magic. Okay, the next day after class, you're very tired and a little bit bruised, and you think your cursed professor gives you a funny look, but whatever. Do you want to sleep, study, or socialize? You have 1 stability. You have 0 substance, and you have 1 progress.
I should probably sleep. I'm a little tired. It's been a rough couple days.
Okay, you take a nap, you gain 1 point of stability, so you're at 2 stability. Okay, it is your final night, it is your final midnight mission, and I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna use one of the table missions, I'm gonna say tonight is your date.
It is for sure. I was. If you hadn't said that, I probably would have asked you to change it.
Yep, you have your date with Handsome Jack. And let me pick a location that I will not tell you until he takes you there. Okay, let's do that. That's suitably romantic. Okay, so it is before midnight. Is Luxem gonna come with you? Remember, Luxem can turn invisible.
Yes, I think Luxem is absolutely there because I think she's trying to coach me on how to be like seductive, and I'm just like, I think what I'm doing specifically is like overthinking it. I'm like, but what if I said this? Because, last time we met, he said I was mysterious, so what if I just answered every question with, it's a mystery? And she's like, that's completely, don't do that. Just please, I ask you as your friend, don't do that.
I've been around a century or so, a few centuries, that is not the way to woo someone.
It's not gonna work. I'm just gonna tell you that. It's not good. So I think she's basically going to like Cyrano de Bergerac me and like throw me lines in my like ghost whisper them in my ear periodically.
Love it. Yeah, and she's invisible, so that's the advantage of having a ghost best friend. The disadvantage is when you graduate, she will never be able to leave the castle. Yep. So oops.
Yeah, here's the thing. We could probably be friends after college, but it would involve me having to be like the grown up going back to the college campus and hanging around, which is also weird.
You'd be that kind of a love. Yeah. Okay, so do you want to make any preparations for the date? Remember, you currently look exactly like yourself.
I have to prep this. I have to prep the curse of a face without a body, and I have to.
You can do that. You can even try another method. You can try wearing a mask or something if you like.
You know what? I actually think I really like wearing the mask, particularly because in one of my like extracurriculars, which is the Artificer Society. We've been studying some magical items, and I happen to know in their back room there is this enchanting mask that just sort of like you look at it and you can't quite look away from it.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna like stop in there because I have a meeting before that. I have a meeting just before this, so I'm gonna kind of stop in there. Yep. I'm gonna I'm gonna fill out the paperwork to check out this sort of enchanting mask.
And they're very happy to, because you showed off such a cool zombie spell that some of them are like, yeah, do whatever you want with it.
I'm like, I just need this for the afternoon or for the evening.
Perfect. And it is a right of the members of the club to check out equipment.
For sure.
So perfect. Okay, so what does the mask look like?
I'm picturing kind of a Phantom of the Opera mask a little bit, except maybe maybe a little bit. Maybe it's, I think, both eyes instead of one eye, so it's kind of that like that opera mask, and I think it is black with like white kind of marble crackling. Oh, it's definitely made of marble. Like it's definitely marble with like that marble.
It's very heavy then. Nice.
It's actually impossibly light. It almost feels like you could break it, and yet like you squeeze it and it does not budge. Like it is impossibly hard but impossibly light. And it's just like I said, you hold it and just like light seems to get trapped in it and form more of these white marble crackles. Nice. So the marble crackles are kind of like forming and fading and moving and giving it kind of like a twilight effect. Like it's got like some sparkles, some twilight action going on in it.
I love that. So you don't really have a really nice wardrobe. You only have these oversized suits, but you have this mask, so that's like your statement accessory. And so you put it on. You have Luxem whispering encouragement to you in your ear. It feels a bit chilly because Luxem is standing in like very close to you. And you see Handsome Jack, and yes, he's your rival, but he's undoubtedly incredibly handsome.
He's cute.
He is wearing
he's so cute.
He's wearing a raw silk kind of robe that's translucent, showing off his body underneath. And he's wearing these these fancy tailored Italian breeches. And he's very sexy, and his wand is like floating next to him, and his the moonlight from the window is literally gleaming off of his six-pack. But I would have you make an adventure roll. The difficulty of this is actually low. It's 1 because you have this item to see if he recognizes you, or if this mask and everything has the effect, and whether or not you can pull off the awkward thing of pretending not to be you because he does know you. So go ahead and make me an adventure roll with a difficulty of 1.
Would that be...
And you are using magic because you're using the mask, but it is not a curse. Yep. So you start with 2 dice, and if you want to spend...
1 of my stability.
Okay.
Spend 1 of my stability here to bump it up to 3 dice.
Okay.
And I'm glad I did, because I got exactly 1 success.
Perfect. So he's enchanted by your mask. You know how people say eyes up here? His eyes are only up there. That's all he can look at. But as he's staring at you, he gives you his arm, and you can hook it in his, and he leads you up the stairs to one of the towers that doesn't have any classrooms or any common rooms that you use that you know of in it. He leads you upstairs onto a crenellated roof. Cool. It's really lovely, except that at one end there's a clothesline, and hanging from it are what you think are the one of the watchman's laundry, because you can recognize some of his shabby clothing. And you stand on this roof and you look out, and the sky is glorious and starry, and the moon is full and wonderful. And tell me, what mysterious sight do you spy way off in the distance?
It is actually... I didn't even realize it was tonight, but it's actually the first night of dragon migration. The dragons are moving from sort of the northern colder mountain, sort of the more northern colder mountains to sort of the subtropical mountains and sort of the more tropical mountain ranges in the southern hemisphere.
Right,
allowing them to sort of sunbathe and sort of relax in the summer months. So it is, and so we are seeing this beautiful, gold dragon just and it's so far away that the only thing we're seeing is just, sparkles. Almost like you're seeing a plane blinking in the distance, and it's just sparkles of golden scales.
It looks gorgeous. The moonlight is sparkling off its scales. Every once in a while, because it's a little windy, a flap of a pair of long underwear interrupts this beautiful sight. But apart from that, it looks really lovely. And in that lovely moment, your arch rival with really handsome features, but who is awful and pompous, tries to move in to kiss you. And if he kisses you, you worry that the mask, the cloaking effect of the mask may be bypassed by him kissing you.
Yep, I know exactly what I'm going to do then. I am going to I'm going to have to curse him with
I love how your character has become this curse fiend.
Just I've learned nothing, and the thing is they're all just real petty. I've learned nobody's coughing up ash. Nobody's crops are withering on the vine.
It's just petty things. I love how we have had so much character development, i.e. you have become a curse expert. Okay, so what are you doing?
I am 100% going to cast Torvald's Tangled Tongue, which is basically you try to express a sentiment, and it comes out as garbled gibberish. Okay. And I think specifically, because I know that he's going to lean in and whisper in my ear, "May I kiss you?" And I think so that he leans and he's like, okay.
Love it. Okay, go ahead and you start with 3 dice because it's a magic and a curse.
That is 2 successes.
Perfect. That is fine. So you, this is a very subtle curse. You can do it without a lot of people noticing. How does it look?
I think what it looks like is, it's a very subtle verbal curse. Because it's I basically say, cat got your tongue, but I say it like the letters have been jumbled, so it's something like taktog, or like ungwat.
I love it. And you have to have the inflection and the tones just right.
It has to sound a bit like cat got your tongue. That's going to be Audacity Magic. It's going to be Audacity Magic later. It's going to be great.
There's a complex curse, but you study foreign magic, so you know that tonal languages, are powerful, so you use that knowledge in your Hekamangu and Indrajala class, and you cast the curse perfectly, and he's like leaning over to try and ask you for permission to kiss him, and he's like, and then he looks perplexed, because this is such a subtle curse that he didn't even feel that he was cursed. He's just like, what? And he looks really perplexed. He's like, what?
And I think I smile real wide and I say, oh, are you flustered about something? Is there something that I've done that has gotten under your skin, darling?
And he like pauses, takes a deep breath in, and is about to open his mouth to say something when you hear this like shriek, and from the open trapdoor that leads to this roof, a winged red imp like shoots out, chased by a plump, bespectacled redhead boy who's like, no, come back! And this demon, that you recognize the demon, is flapping around the roof. Handsome Jack is thrown off guard. He reaches for his wand, tries to say a spell, but the curse that you've cast on him is preventing him from doing magic. And this bespectacled freshman is circling this demon. This demon is gleefully chuckling, and you notice the demon is holding a valuable object. What is it?
The demon is holding a Tarask tooth. It is one of the few. It is one of the few fossilized records we have left of evidence of the Tarask. It is this sort of barbed, serrated, knife-looking tooth. And like, it doesn't have any necessarily magical qualities, but it is just this rare archaeological find that points to the evidence of this larger-than-life creature from a time before.
It is, in fact, it is one of the treasures of the Toad Tongue Campus Museum.
Yep.
And why this demon has it, who this... The kid is a freshman that you know. Their name is Lee Bin.
Yep, and it's like, that seems like this all seems like something Lee would have gotten into.
Yeah, totally. Lee is, he doesn't look it because he's like plump and doesn't look very athletic. He's actually the captain of the broom racing team.
That checks out.
But he is it's weird because when he's not on the field, he's incredibly clumsy.
He's one of those, he's one of those star athletes that just like the energy of the stadium brings out something in him that he cannot capture outside of that.
Exactly. He also has a third eye on his cheek.
Okay.
That winks at people inappropriately all the time.
It's actually honestly kind of a little hot because it gives you that like flirty. It gives you that flirty wink, and because you know that he's an athlete, it flusters you in just that right way. It admittedly kind of does it.
Love it. So he's chasing this demon. You have Handsome Jack trying to do a spell, but he can't, and now he's going to suspect that he got cursed. Very, very soon.
My grand denouement moment is right now. I'm going to take off the mask. I'm going to reveal my identity dramatically. I'm going to toss it to Handsome Jack, putting the enchanting mask that all eyes will be upon Jack. I'm going to smile and say, you don't have to say... The oldest proverb in the book is actually not one from a witch. It's just that you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the smallest person. And casting attention onto Handsome Jack, I'm going to get out of here.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to say that's actually not that hard. And this is a one difficulty. This is not that difficult. You just put the mask on him quickly and then just run. And there's so much chaos already, and Luxem can help you, so it's fine. Okay, so 1 difficulty challenge. You have 1 die. Do you want to use any magic or stability?
I am absolutely going to...
Oh, you are using magic. It is the mask.
So I am also going to use my last point of stability.
Oh,
no,
okay.
No, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it at 2 dice. I think I can get one success on 2 dice and keep that 1 stability. As this is my moment.
Go ahead.
Should have used that 1 stability. Absolutely should have used that 1 stability.
Okay, so I'm gonna say you put the mask on him, but in the confusion and all that's going on, the demon drops the Tarask tooth off the roof, and Handsome Jack has seen you. So he will be able to tattle and say that you were involved in losing the Tarask tooth.
That's fine. And I think...
But you managed to get away.
I think the other detail is, like, there's so much chaos happening because there's a demon, Li Bin is screaming. No one hears my very, very rehearsed bon mot. Just, it's like, my very, very rehearsed, like, zinger. No one hears a word of it. It's just like, what did you say? What? You're that Alistair kid. Get out of here. Get out of here with this.
Love it. Okay. So, it sounds to me that this was a partial success.
I would call this a partial success.
Because you did succeed in humiliating your rival. You did go on the date. The only problem is he got back at you. Like, he can tattle about you.
He still has one up on me.
Right. So, partial success, you gain 1 point of substance. Okay. And now, your final night of writing, you have only that 1 point left, so you can roll that for me.
That is not a success.
Okay, now, this is the final stretch. So normally you take an hour or 2 of sleep, but this part is now called the final stretch. You may attempt 1 more writing roll. It's a bonus writing roll. Normally you can use any substance you have. You do not. However, you can make a sacrifice. So something that's valuable to your character can be sacrificed. So either you you sacrifice friendship with someone, or you just gained all this status from your friends by doing the zombie thing. You can somehow use that, or something in some narrative way. You give up something that's valuable to you and gain another writing roll. You gain another die and another writing roll if you want to do that.
I would love to sacrifice my place in the club and basically, like, call in every favor that I have in, like, the moments before I am outed by Handsome Jack as, like, the perpetrator of this giant prank. I am literally just like, hey, could I pick your brain? I have this topic about, like, band text. Could I, like, pick your brain for just a few moments? Just a few moments.
Perfect. So you managed to bring in all these students. You, like, somehow scramble to get them. They're really annoyed because it's really early and they're whatever. So the social capital you gained from that zombie thing has completely gone. They do not like you anymore. But they do give you some information that's helpful, so you get 2 extra dice to make a final writing roll.
All right, let me make my final writing roll, and I have.
So remind me, I forgot to. You did you or did you not succeed in this roll just now?
This was
before the sacrifice.
I did not succeed.
Okay.
So I have 1 progress.
So go ahead. Yeah. So go ahead.
All right. So I'm rolling 3 dice.
You are rolling 2 dice.
2 dice
because you had yes.
All right. That is 1 success.
Perfect. So you gain 2 progress.
All right.
Okay. So you do hand in something that's substantive to your to your professor of magical law, or from Salem to Greendale and beyond, the law and order of magical practices. Great. So now it's the end of term, where you're gonna get your grade, you're gonna get merits, and you're gonna get an epilogue. So your grade, there's a grading scheme in the game. So first off, you gained 2 points of progress. So your letter grade is a C, but because you had such a diversity of things, I'm gonna boost it up to a C plus.
I will take a C plus.
Right. So that is the GM's prerogative. They can give you a plus or a minus.
Sure.
Okay, now you also get 2 merits from your students. It's a time-honored tradition based on some of the things you did this semester. So let's see. The first merit you get is Curse Meister.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's become known that you're really, really good at curses. And the second merit you get from your students that they vote is I'm gonna say it is zombie breath.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because you did the whole zombie thing. And you stopped him from kissing you, and some of the things are like, is it because you have zombie breath?
Oh, that's good.
It's not a completely derogatory thing. It's like a mixed thing.
Yeah, some people use it mockingly, some people use it adoringly. It goes back and forth.
Yep. Okay, so we have 2 epilogues. I get 1 epilogue, and you get another epilogue. My epilogue is based on your grade. So a D or an F results in a negative outcome, an A or a B results in a positive outcome, and a C results in a mixed outcome. Okay? So I'm going to say the epilogue at the end of the semester, when the professor of curses is like leaving, there's like a farewell dinner that you get invited to because you're in his class. He has heard that you've been doing really well in his class, like you're really good at curses, and he's heard of, because he's a young, sexy visiting professor, he talks with the students a lot more than the other professors, so he's heard of all these things, and he's really excited that you're such a good student and that you have this wicked sense of fun, that he gives you his card for a summer internship.
All right, I will take it. That sounds like an exciting opportunity.
Because he's gonna go do some excavations in some ancient Mayan ruins, and you will be his curse-breaking apprentice.
I am excited. I am excited for this opportunity.
However, you were tattled on as having been a part of losing one of the most valuable artifacts the university owns.
Sure. Yeah.
So all the money you earned in the internship is going to go back into paying back the college.
Yep.
And basically, you will have to have a unpaid campus job every semester to like work off your debt, and you will have student loans. That when you graduate, you're going to have to pay back.
The realist curse. The harshest curse.
But hey, you might get a good job when you graduate, right?
I might have a good job lined up. So
perfect. So that is my epilogue. What is your epilogue about the end of term? And it doesn't have to be right at the end of term. It can be like after. It can be wherever you want temporally after, near the end of term.
Okay, so it's anything that I want it to be that is something.
Yep.
Something in line, something mixed in line with getting a C in as my final grade.
You don't have to make it mixed. That is, I have to make my mix. You can do whatever is a fun ending to your story.
What is my fun ending? I think I know my exact fun ending to the story.
Yeah.
I think it is that like the start of my sophomore year, the start of my second year, my start of my next term. I arrive. And thanks to Luxem's help, I have finally come to Luxem and said, okay, I'm ready. I am going abroad, and I need your help. I show up the first day of my sophomore year in the most immaculately tailored, revolutionary French style, like pompous, like aristocracy, like suit and tie, and I've got a top hat and a coat with tails, and it's anywhere that's not like a wizard school, it would be way too much. But now people are like, "Wow, Alistair got his look together. Did you see the coat and tails?" That's my closing note: is that I finally learned how to wear a suit that fits.
I love it, and it has slight Mayan touches to it because you spent your summer there in South America and Central America. Love it. Okay, so that is Hex Ed.
What a great game! I am so happy. I loved it.
Thanks. It was a little longer than normal, and I think that's because you are very imaginative and add a lot to the game.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But it's still, I designed it to be a relatively short game.
Yeah, and I think even an hour and a half is still pretty short, all things considered, as far as like role-playing games go, when you're talking about a thing that can regularly run 4 to 8 hours.
Exactly. It's actually, if you take apart the mechanics, I don't actually think the dice mechanics are robust for a long.
No, I
thing.
think it's pretty short and sweet, and I think that's what makes it really work. That's what makes it really
exactly.
sing.
I think I really wanted the feeling of, do I sleep? Do I study? What do I use my roles now? Do I not? Because I felt I was trying to capture the student life of like making those decisions about how to use your time.
I think it came through really beautifully. I think it really popped with that.
Thanks, and I'll have you note that you were. I've play tested this 6, 7, 8 times. And you were the student to use more magic than anyone else.
I loved using magic. It's just fun.
It was so fun, and I also think you were incredibly imaginative.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jeff, for adding so much color to the game.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. This was a delight.
Thanks, Jeff. I had a great time.
So, real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Yeah, so I always post on Twitter. My Twitter is at Sharang Biswas, and that's my full name spelling, which will be on this podcast, so you can look at that. Yep. Linked to my Twitter, you can find my website, which is sharangbiswas.myportfolio.com, but the link is there. You can also go to my itch.io page, because not all the games I make are playable by people around because they're like performances and theatrical and gallery stuff. So my itch.io you can find from my website, but it's my itch.io name is Astrolingus, as in star tongue, Astrolingus. You can get some of my games. Most of them are pay what you want, including the ones that have won some of the awards. But I encourage you to check out this anthology. It's called You and I, Role-Playing Games for Two. This is just one of the games in there. 17 designers submitted games. Yeah, and some of them are close games. Some of them are games you can play across the internet. They're all different genres. Some of them are sad. Mine is, sort of swashbuckling. It is not that expensive, and part of the proceeds go to charity. I also encourage you to check out the Adventure Mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, if you like running D&D games on drive-thru, because a couple of designers and artists, and by artists I mean visual artists and musicians, worked really hard to make a cool product. And I hope you subscribe to this podcast. In addition to it being cool, it's really interesting to look at two-player games and how they can work within our hobby and our art form, and to support indie designers, because indie designers need love.
We do. We absolutely do. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was an absolute delight. I had the most fun, and now I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me.
Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Sharang for coming on to the show. That game was... oh my goodness, that game was such a delight to play and to listen to. I am still giddy about it. Be sure to check out Hex Ed and You and I, Role-Playing Games for Two, an anthology of two-player role-playing games on DriveThruRPG. Also be sure to check out the Adventure Mixtape. Also be sure to check out all of Sharang's other work, because it's all very, very good and very interesting and doing cool things with games that I am incredibly excited about. Also, be sure to follow Sharang on Twitter at Sharang Biswas. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast, and join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. If you enjoy the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review. iTunes reviews are hugely helpful in helping new listeners find the show, which helps us grow and do bigger, better, and cooler things. You can also send us some love on social media, or tell a friend about the show. Anything to help us grow is tremendously appreciated. If you'd like to support Party of One financially, as well as my game design work, community involvement stuff, and all the other things that I'm doing on a given day, you can go to patreon.com/JeffStormer and get access to all of that for just a few dollars a month. If you're looking for another podcast to listen to, might I recommend All My Fantasy Children. All My Fantasy Children is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by you. Every week, my best friend Aaron Catano-Size and I take a listener-submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates or about coming on the show, you can shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance, and as always, party on, everybody.